My first guest is an attorney who's representing the family of Tyre Nichols. Please put your hands together for Ben Crump. How are you?
I'm good, DL. Good to see you, brother.
How you doing, Frat? You good?
I'm good, Frat, other than this situation.
Out of all the times, like usually you call me, I think it's Tuesday, and whenever I hear from you, I know it's bad news. Like you never call you won a lotto or had a baby shower or nothing like that. It's always. But you told me about it because my driver happened to be Tyre's stepfather, and he had told me about it previously. And so it struck me differently because I know Rodney, and I remember when he moved to Memphis, and I knew that you were on the case, so I was certain that something positive would happen. Do you think that the fact that the officers were arrested so swiftly is an indicator of things that are getting better, or that just we got 5 black people, so we're gonna arrest them real fast?
You know, that's an interesting question, D.L. Hughley, but I think when you look at the fact that they are black officers, it seemed to be that this moved awfully swiftly. What do I mean?
Curiously
the police
swiftly.
chief said...
Very fast, very fast.
Very fast. The police chief, David, said it was important that they take swift action, that they move swiftly to justice, DL. She said that because this video was so clear that the community needed to see that. And so I said to myself, they got fired, arrested, and charged in less than 20 days. So this is the blueprint going forward, D.L. Hughley. They cannot say anymore to us whether the cop is black or white. When you see them on video committing a crime, using excessive force against us, that it takes 6 months, that it take a year. No, you can't tell us that anymore, because we're going to say, you remember those 5 black police officers in Memphis? Y'all arrested them immediately.
What I do find interesting is that I know that you have tried to, do what you can in terms of police reform. But let me tell you, Congressman Jim Jordan, he said on, I think, Meet the Press, that he's not sure that any law, any training, or any reform could have stopped what happened to Tyre Nichols. So that sounds like a setup to not do anything. I'm tired of hearing about rotten apples. We got to start looking at the trees and the soil that the trees grow on. If the premise is already nothing could have stopped that, that sounds a lot like their approach on guns, is we might keep everything the same because nothing will stop it.
Yeah. You know, DL, it really is troubling when they continue to see all this evidence that we have a problem with the culture of policing in America. Sure. One of the questions I was often asked was, were there black officers? Are you surprised what they did? And I said, no, because the race of the police officer isn't the determining factor of whether they're going to commit excessive use of force, but it is the race of the victim. And it's often black and brown people who bear the brunt of police brutality. I mean, we don't see videos of our white brothers and sisters who are unarmed facing this kind of excessive use of force. I'm waiting to see those videos, because how often, DL, have we seen, Eric Gardner in New York get choked, the first I Can't Breathe case, then Alton Sterling down in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, then Pamela Turner, the sister outside of Houston who was having a mental health crisis and the police killed her, and Laquan McDonald.
What is their incentive to stop?
Walking away in Chicago, got shot 16 times.
But what is their incentive to stop? Because what happens is police officers who kill black people get a paid vacation, then they come back, they have GoFundMe accounts, then they say police departments need to be retrained so they get more money. So there's no real incentive to make substantive change when nothing really severe. And what police they'll tend to do is they'll get rid of the police officers and say, now everything, we can start at ground zero, everything's changed. And I don't see anything that has changed that is so remarkable that it would lead me to believe that these are going to be changes that are resonant.
Well, DL, we're making some progress. We need to make a lot more, but we're making some progress because you know what a deterrent to them killing us unjustly is? As Reverend Al and I always talk about, if they have to do the perp walk, if they're being convicted and sent to prison, like Derek Chauvin and those officers who killed George Floyd, if we have more police officers saying that, well, just like you think about white people, you de-escalate fine, because you know if you shoot a white person in the back, oh, you're going to prison. Mm-hmm. But if you shoot a black person in the back, maybe not, because it's like a cliche almost, DL. Black men running away, and they say, oh, I felt in fear of my life. How can you feel in fear of your life when the person running away from you?
You know what's funny? It's hilarious. I say this all the time. The most dangerous place for black people to live is in the imagination of white people. It is the most dangerous. That's the most dangerous address to have. One of the things that you'll always have an
DL, I got to say this, DL. Isn't it funny how conspicuously silent the police union is?
Yeah. Hey, man, you took the words out of my mouth. I'm hosting the show, not you, Ben. I want to make this point. Every time you have a conversation about policing, invariably somebody will feel the need to go, but not all policemen are bad. We're talking about the ones that are. I wish that somebody would make that point on the other side, that not all black people are bad. Like that's no one ever says. I would never make the accusation that all of anything is bad, but people, when they say black on black crime or high crime areas, they are really painting everybody with one broad brush and saying these people can't be trusted, they live that same way. So even the mentality that we speak about these things has to change.
Yeah, and we have to quit making excuses for police killing us unjustifiably. I hear so many of my white friends say, well, if they would only comply. Tyre Nichols couldn't have been more compliant. Yeah. I mean, you think about how they try to justify blaming the victim when we see video after video after video. Hey, how about we say the person who actually killed the person is to blame? Yeah. And let's stop it there.
Yeah, you're right. They have a weird notion of compliance because I didn't see any of that on January 6th. I didn't think any of them were compliant. I didn't see any of that. So, but let me just. I kid you around. I kid around with you a lot, but I will say this: it's the first time I've ever talked to you that I got scared. You sounded so exhausted. I've never heard a black man sound so weary, like just exhausted. So you got to make sure that you're around to make sure you all right.
And thank you, DL, and I appreciate the prayers, brother. I will say this: what I am praying for, Tyre Nichols' mother has been dealing with this tragedy with such grace. She said, I believe that my son was sent for an assignment, and now he's back up in heaven with God because he's completed that assignment. She said, that's the only way I can cope with this tragedy. It's the only way I can keep waking up. And she said, because I have to believe a greater good is going to happen for this senseless death of my son. And so I am praying that the President Biden, who we talk to, will listen to us when we say, let's marshal the United States Senate back in to session and reconvene with Senator Schumer and Senator Booker, and then let's get Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee to bring the bill back up in the House of Representatives, the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act, and let's keep fighting because we cannot let her prayers go in vain, that a greater good has to come out of this. And I know they're going to say, well, they're not going to do anything, but we got to strike a match rather than curse the darkness. We got to go to the mayor, do it on the local level. We got to do it with the state level. If we can't get to the federal government, we got to win the battles we can, because every battle we win might just save your child's life.
There you go, Ben. There you go, Brent. I am You epitomize perseverance. I'm proud of you, man. You make me so proud. Attorney Ben Crump.
Much love, Frank. Much love.